All right, hey, it's Micah here, and this video is just to show you a few of the general overall elements and settings of this app called dwcontacts. What is dwcontacts? Like you say, it's an app. Obviously, it's for the Android smartphones. I don't know that they have any version of it for an Apple, unfortunately, but there might be something similar. Although I have to admit, it's hard to find an app with features like this. So you can see here on my home screen here, you can see we have the Play Store for Android. I'm opening it up, and I'm just going to DW Contacts to show you what it looks like to look up DW Contacts in the Play Store. If you see here, I'm searching for it in the search area up at the top, and we have two versions of it here. We have the business version on the top. It says business right there in the middle, and then the second one says DW Contacts Communication, right? So the communication is the free version. Now the free version is pretty powerful, and it has a lot of features and powerful elements to it that are great. You can see it's 4.5 star rated. But there is the upgraded version. The upgraded version has a one-time fee. I'm not sure, unless anything's changed, it was a one-time fee of approximately $10 on this app store. I don't see it right here. I don't know if it's going to show me. But if I'm correct, it's like a one-time fee of $10. It gives you more ability to send messages and so forth. But what I'm talking about is mainly the settings. You can see I have the business version. So now I already have it installed. So you can see it says it's installed. But if you don't have it installed, you can install whichever one you like. If you're starting out with the free version and you just want to play with it for a bit. But this app's pretty powerful. It's definitely, in my opinion, more than worth the price to have the upgraded version. So for different reasons. But anyway, it's like I said, it's like a one-time fee of like $10. So it's easy to get the upgraded version if you want it. But you can see I already have it. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and close this Play Store here. I'm going to go ahead and go to the app, which you can see is on the right side of my screen here. I'm opening it up, and you can see it's got some contacts displayed here under this contact screen here, right? This contact screen here. You can see at the top it says the name of the screen that we're on. So at the top of the screen, and it's showing the names of some contacts, but it has some tabs at the bottom here as well. If we look at the bottom, you can see the phones tab, we can see favorites, we can see contacts, we can see messages, we can see toolbox. Right, so these are all different things. The phone area is where you could just make a direct call. It has a dialer, you can see here, so you can just dial a number and so forth. So now that's pretty basic in itself. I use mainly the contacts area if I want to dial a number, but if you want to dial from here, you can also just dial from your regular phone dialer, so you don't have to use this to make a phone call if you have it installed on your phone. Now I have favorites. I also have, the favorites is kind of self-explanatory. You can designate some contacts to be right there at the top of that list. So if you need to contact them more readily, you have a list of favorite contacts. Now this list right here is our contacts tab, our main contact screen. And you can see it showing a list of contacts. And I'm trying to scroll. It's a little laggy right at the moment because I have a lot of contacts in here. But you can see if I scroll and it's showing a lot of contacts, I have 2 accounts that I'm logged into. Now these contacts are not actually saved on my phone device. They are saved in my Google Contacts account. And they are being displayed on my phone here. So that means that, I have to be signed into a Google account from my phone. If you have an Android, you probably already know how to do that. Now, there's other types of accounts you could be logged into. But Android is kind of part of Google. They're pretty linked up, or basically the same company. I'm not exactly sure, but you can see here if I'm pulling down I'm going a little bit ahead of myself. But I'm pulling down this main setting screen of my phone. I'm just pulling it down from the top. Now, your Android might be different if you're using a different Android, but you can see if I pull it down again, it's giving me this other menu, which is giving me some other settings of my phone, including the sync setting, right? And if I hit this sync, I want to make sure it's on and it's syncing to my Google accounts or whatever accounts that I'm trying to have with contacts to display on this app. right? So right now it's logged into 2 accounts. So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves on that, but you'll kind of understand that a little more. But now we also have, so this is showing some contacts. We'll get back to this, but we also have the messages tab right here. This is where we can send and receive text messages, and it's like we can also send text messages from our phone's standard messaging. You know, they'll typically display on both your phone's standard messaging. Like right here, you can see I have my regular messages here from my phone, which is not set it as the default messaging app right now. Right now, dwcontacts is set as the default app. But if I want to go back and use my regular app, I can do that at any time. It'll bring up whatever kinds of messaging apps that I have on my phone here if I do that, and it'll allow me to set them as my default. And if I want to go back to my regular messages, here I'm getting a phone call, let me cancel that. If I want to go back to my regular messages, I would click that right there. And it would go back and open up my regular set my text to my regular phone's app, messaging app. But for when I'm wanting to use this app, I really use this app when I'm for receiving and sending text. I'm using this app mainly. For calls and everything else, I'm using my phone's stock dialer. But you know, you can test it around and play with it. But I'm leaving dwcontacts as my default messaging app right now because that's what we're using. So I'm leaving that the way it is. I'm not going into this regular messaging into my phone's regular messaging app, but you can always switch back and forth easily. So, but right now I'm in dwcontacts messaging, and I could start a message by pressing this plus button right here, and then I could see up here it says 2. I could select some numbers. I'm not really trying to get into personal contacts and stuff, but unfortunately the screen is not letting me scroll easily. So the idea here, well, let me see if I can start typing in a contact, right? And when I do that, or I start typing in some combination of letters, right? I can start typing in a contact. I can type in their phone number, whatever. So I can start sending them. I can send them a message. So if I send one to my other phone line, for example, which has just got a short title, so then I start to write a message. I can start writing the message, blah blah blah, not writing any particular text, but test message, whatever. So, and then I can send it here, right, by pressing this green button. So when I press this green button, typically with an Android, you're going to be able to send what's called an SMS type of text message, which means it's just text verbiage. It doesn't have you can't put any like pictures or video or any extra voice attachment or nothing to it. It's just text, and it's kind of limited to a certain number of characters. I'm not sure how many, maybe like 120 or something like that, I think, standard. I can't remember, but if I press this green button, I just send it like that. I just quick press it. It's going to send the text message as an SMS message, right? And different phone carriers have different texting like capabilities and rules. Some of them might be more limited. Some of them might send a ton of text, or you can't send text within a certain amount of time. You want to just kind of learn that, be aware of that. Typically, if your phone stops, it'll send a text, but it may not be received by another phone. So you might want to send some test messages to another phone line of yours, or a friend, or something like that, and see if they are definitely receiving it, or see if you're definitely receiving it on the other end, on the other line that you're sending it to, just to test your text messaging in general on your phone. Now this is sending it through your regular phone's text messaging gateway. It's just using this app to send the message instead of your regular app, for instance. So I just sent a message, and I just pressed the send button there. Now I can also send what's called an MMS type of text message. An MMS text message means multimedia message, and I'm not exactly sure what it stands for, but bottom line is it's capable of sending a message with like an image attached to it, or a voice message, or any kind of extra media, right? So right now we just sent a regular SMS message here, which is just a standard text message, and that's great if I'm just sending a regular message. But maybe your phone, like my phone, some services will allow you to send a certain amount of SMS messages and a certain amount of MMS messages. So you could technically get like twice as much texting out of it if you have any kind of limitations on your phone. Like some phone services might allow you to send like 200 texts in a day, or some might not have really much of a restriction. but most of them probably have some level of restriction. So you might want to be a little bit slow at first and kind of see how it's working. But some services, many times if you have a standard phone service, you can probably send out a good amount of text. I recommend kind of starting out a little slower at first with fewer contacts if you're sending some text messages, stuff like that. If you're just sending them one by one, you probably won't have a problem like what we're doing right here. So now to send an MMS message, let's just say I want to send a regular text message like, hey, let me know if you get this or whatever. It's just a test message, right? And let's say I sent all the SMS messages I could send for a certain period of time. My phone's not sending out anymore or something like that. It could also, and that's just if you're sending out a lot of messages or something, you might have that. But depends on how much you're doing and what you're doing and that kind of thing, what you're using it for. You could be using it for multiple purposes, alerting your family or just sending a message to friends or colleagues, whatever it is. Maybe you're using it for business, you know what I mean? So bottom line here, though, is I'm doing a regular text message. I'm not adding any extra media to it. But if I'm out of SMS messages or I wanted to send it as an alternative to SMS, I could send it as an MMS message, often by simply long pressing on the green button. You see, I long press on the button, I hold it down when I pressed it. Now it's giving me a subject line. I could say, I could write anything I want. I could just put 3 dots if I want, so I'm not really concerned about the subject line. I just want it to be sent as an MMS. Or I could say, hey, it's Micah, or whatever it is, right? And then now I've got the subject line of this message and I'm sending that. That's sending an MMS message, right? So, and it's taking a little longer to send it here if we can see. So anyway, so SMS and MMS, right? And you might look up a little bit about it, use YouTube or Google to do a little research, but be cautious because it could get you caught up in a rabbit hole if you're not careful, or you might get caught up in the wrong information or information that's not necessarily what you're trying to do, stuff like that. Maybe there's a simpler solution. Keep your mind open to that. But this is just on how to send an SMS and an MMS from the dwcontacts messaging portal. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of that right there. And you see it showing this message right here. I just cleaned out my messages, so I only have this one message here right now, right? This one that I just sent to one of my other phone lines. And it came through on the other phone line, so I know it sent both of those messages. They actually got received, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to, like when doing any text messaging in general, especially if I'm sending out a bit of messages or something like that, I might want to keep that in mind. Make sure and test every now and then to make sure my messages are being received, or see how my text messaging works, stuff like that, right? There could be subtle little factors that you might not seem so obvious. So anyway, this is my messaging tab, and we just sent a message, a couple of types of messages. Now if we look up here, let's see, if we go up to this little button up here, you can see this is where it's showing messages that we've sent. I've already just cleaned this out. You can see in this 3 dots on the top right is always important. Let me see if I can go to it. Actually, I think there's something in the way. Maybe I can't, or maybe I can't do it here. But anyway, usually if I press those 3 dots on the top right, it's going to allow me to delete and clear all these messages that are in queue to be sent if I'm sending messages. It's empty right now, but these ones right here is where messages have been sent and or received, and that's just our main messaging tab right down here, right? So you can see, whoops, actually I went into my search area, and you have to forgive me, this phone can be a little laggy once in a while, but let's see if I can go back. Okay, here we are. We're in the messaging tab. So we did those first 4, kind of glancing through those. The last one here is our toolbox, right? Now, toolbox here, you can see, and now this 3-dot menu might do some slightly different things on each one of those. You can see if you open it up, and I'll try to open it up in a minute here. Let me see if I can. Okay, maybe move that out of the way. Okay, here we go. So if I open up this 3-dot menu, you can see it opens up another little menu. In this case, it's settings and default tab. We'll go back to that in a minute. But anyway, in this toolbox area, you can see here it has a few key elements of this app. Like it can take you to your groups of contacts, which could be in different groups that you have designated. Now, these groups could be in whatever contact manager you're synced up to that's capable of being synced up. I'm synced up to Google Contacts, which everybody who has a Google Gmail account, or a Google account maybe even, automatically has a Google Contacts account where you can save all your contacts, and they're saved on the Google Cloud, so it's like they're not necessarily saved on your computer, on your phone, or even your computer. So like you want to have a backup saved on your computer somewhere. You want to save a backup of your contacts every now and then, export them and save it into a file so that you have them backed up. But either way, bottom line, like these contacts that are all in here, these are folders of contacts. And if I open up a folder, it's going to show me some contacts here that are in like follow-up folder. People who have agreed to check out information about my business, for example. So going back to this, we can see these different folders. Now I can take any one of these folders and I can long press on the folder, and then it'll give me this screen here, which gives me some extra options that I could do with this folder. Like, for instance, show history. I don't know every setting in this app, so I don't really mess with that as much. But, you're welcome to tinker with some stuff. But I would recommend coming back to this video here to get back to the basics. But the next one here is send SMS or MMS, like I was just talking about as far as types of messages. So I could send a message to everybody in that folder right now. If I press that, it's going to set them all up for a message. Right? And then I could go ahead and start sending and press OK and proceed with that. We're not going to do that right now. I'm going to back out of it, but I'm just saying that's what that does. So I long press on any one of these folders, and you can see I have a different email address showing up here. It's one email address, and then those are the two Gmail accounts that I am logged into, which are storing all of these contacts in my Google Contacts account at google.com/contacts when I'm logged into Google or Gmail. Go to google.com/contacts, right? If you have a Gmail or Google account, you automatically have a free Google Contacts account, and it could store up to 25,000 contacts, right? Up to 25,000 contacts per Google Contacts account. Now, I don't want to be logged into too many. I'm logged into two here that are like they've loaded up with some contacts of different kinds and all that. So you can see I'm displaying contacts like, it's kind of showing, it's saying, hey, that this folder contains contacts from both of these accounts here. So, and I'll go back and show you a little more about that in a minute. But what I'm saying here is just, these are different folders. I can go and look up different, I can create these folders. I can create them on my computer, go into Google Contacts, google.com/contacts, and be in my account and create groups or labels. They're also called labels, is what they actually call them, but it's essentially like a group, right? Here, like I have some Spanish contacts. They're all, well, maybe it's empty right now, but it's not the best example. But I have some contacts here. Let me see. I'm just. I sent out some, I received some job applications from some people on Facebook a long time ago. I have them in one folder here. It's called Facebook Job Apps, right? So just different groups that I had that I might have actually really probably created all these groups when I was on my computer at google.com/contacts, but they're just synced up to my phone. So all the contacts and all the folders or labels that they're in are synced up to my phone, right? They're synced up. So these contacts are not actually saved on my phone. They're just displaying on my phone because they're synced up to my phone. So anyway, I'm going back out of groups right at the moment. We're still back here in this toolbox area. It has some other ones here. It has companies. This is going to bring up contacts according to what's in the company line or organization line or field of that contact, right? So if whenever you're in a contact, it has a few different fields like first name, last name, phone number, 1, 2, 3, and email one that has blah, 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 and it probably has organization. It's going to have that in Google Contacts, right? It's going to have organization or company description, and it's basically the same thing. If you see it in one area, it says organization, and then in another area it says company. It's probably the same field. So this is just showing what's in those company lines. This is a little more technical. You can tinker with it. You probably get the idea what it means. And we also have the titles as well. There's also a field for titles. So I can just put some extra notes in there. I can kind of categorize. I can see, hey, all these contacts here, these were disconnected numbers. Maybe I'll give them one more chance and then delete them. I have some different things I put into the titles. Like these numbers were all restricted when I called them. Like they're almost bad numbers, but I might keep them around for a little bit every now and then, test a few of them, that kind of stuff. These are leads for business, but you might have different reasons you're using this, so you can use it for different ways. This is about what's in the address line here, obviously. I just have some city names and so forth. Events, agenda, to do. I don't use these other ones as much, but they're there if you want to and check them out. Notes, the last one, just kind of going down here, you can see notes. It's not really anything I use much. Quick dial manager, I don't use that as much, but like I said, you can check it out. But import, export, the last one, I don't ever import and export from my phone. I always do it directly in Google Contacts. So I go to google.com/contacts from a web browser on my computer generally, and then I import or export any contacts there, and then it syncs up to my phone. So if I took some contacts out of my Google Contacts account, then and I sync it up on my phone by maybe pulling down the screen here and going to the, this is like your phone might have it in a different area, like, but whatever, I make sure syncing is on here. And when I go to syncing, it's going to bring up accounts that my phone is synced up to. And it has like my Facebook in there. I don't really know, some of the other stuff it's synced up to. Main ones I'm worried about is these two, Carter's Benefits and Cool MTN, which are my Google accounts, my two Gmail accounts, which you can see they're two Gmail email numbers, right? Accounts, addresses. So either one, I just want to make sure that they're syncing. So if I open this up here, if I pressed on it, like this first one, for instance, you can see it shows Google account info in here. I don't need to go into that actually, because that's going to open up my regular Google account and stuff like that. I'm not trying to get in there right now. I'm just trying to go to sync account and make sure that it's syncing these various elements, specifically contacts, right? Now, if I have my Google Calendar, I could sync that, and sync my email as well, which, you're probably already doing anyway, but just making sure it's definitely syncing your contacts. I can turn it on and turn it off and turn it back on and refresh. Sometimes it's a little stubborn. It could sync for a while and then not sync for a while, or so it could be a little touch and go, but generally it's accurate. Like once it syncs up, it's synced up, right? So, but you want to make sure it's definitely on, or you might turn it off and on again, or just make sure you're definitely logged in to your account. Now, how do you get to your account? Like, you might see how I kind of did this right here, which might allow you to, let me see, it doesn't allow us to add an account here. I don't see it says add an account, but let me see here, or maybe here we can see I'm in this area here. It says accounts and backup, and this is probably just right. Like, I don't know how I even got back here, but I could probably go to this right from my settings. In my phone settings, go to account. So I'm in this accounts and backup right now, but let me go out here and let's just go to phone settings right here, and then if I type accounts or something like that, or sync or something, you see it says manage accounts right there, right? And I can open that up, and that's showing me the same screen we were just on. And you can see it says at the top manage accounts. I can click that, and it's going back into that same screen where it's showing us the accounts that our Android phone is synced up to. If you have like another kind of phone, you might be familiar with, like an Apple might have a similar situation, but you're not using this app on an Apple probably, so we're not worried about that if you're listening to this video. But like I said, you can see here, we're back into this screen with the account. I can go to my other account, also make sure it's syncing up. Now, if I have like too many, like this phone's able to handle, I got 2 accounts loaded with contacts, but it could be like, it could take a while to sync. It depends a bit. It probably won't take very long. It depends on, how many contacts. If you don't have very many contacts, you only have a few hundred or something or less, it's probably not going to take long at all to sync, right, to your account. So this is synced up to these Gmail accounts where I have an associated Google Contacts account. Like, so if I'm logged into my Gmail account for this Cool MTN, then I'm automatically logged in for my browser, so I can just go ahead and go right to Google Contacts, or I can go to open up the menu settings in Gmail, and it'll show me other Google apps that I have access to with my Gmail account, and you'll see Google Contacts in there. And there's some other apps in there you might find useful as well. So like the calendar, and maybe Google Docs or something that allows you to save your documents online or back them up, or certain documents and stuff like that. Maybe stuff you use for business. So anyway, I'm in here. We just checked to make sure everything's syncing right. We know that's working okay. I already did all this right here, so I'm not really, we just making sure our accounts are synced up, so that way our DW contacts, and let me get back to it. Let me go ahead and close this here and close this. We're going to go back to DW contacts. Just making sure that when we're in contacts here, we're showing the contacts from all the accounts we want to display them from. So now that's one thing about that, but we also need to make sure that they're set to display in this app. So this means we're going to go back here so we can get back to the main contacts tab here and screen. Actually, it says search. That's fine too. As long as I'm in this contacts tab down here, I can close it and open it up if I'm unsure about something or whatever. It's a little laggy right at the moment, but you see I'm in the contacts. I'm in contact here. It doesn't say contact at the top like it usually does, but bottom line here, I'm in the contacts. I can go ahead and go right here and go to settings, right? This is where we're going to talk about contacts to display. So you can see in this screen there's a few different settings. We're going to go through them in a minute, but looking at contacts to display here towards the bottom, right? You see here, once again, I'm in the contacts tab. Whoops. Not going into the search feature, but just you might have to hit it just once or whatever. Once you're in there, you'll see it. Just make sure you're hitting on the contacts tab at the bottom, and then go ahead and hit the three dots at the top right, and it opens up this screen, right? And you see these different settings and so forth. Just real quickly go into this one here, contacts to display, the third one at the bottom, towards the bottom, right? We hit that. It's going to bring up this screen right here, which is going to allow you to select whether you want to display all contacts here. Whoops, I just took us out of it by hitting it, but let me go ahead and go back in here real quick. We're going back to contacts to display, and that's why I want to have it set to show all contacts. Or I can have it show all contacts with phone numbers, which means if I have contacts that don't have a phone number, like they just have an email address or maybe some other contact info besides phone number, then that they're not going to display. Now I want them to display because sometimes I email them in groups and so forth, so I'm having all contacts displayed, right? You can also customize it in some other ways down here, which will allow you some options, but I don't really mess with it much, and see it's not even opening for some reason. Oh, wait, there it is. So it allowed me to pull up specific groups of contacts within an account, for instance. So I have these groups in that Google Contacts account that's associated with this Gmail account. Like if I want to maybe, I have it showing my contacts, which is my overall general folder there, which has all the contacts that are in that group are able to be displayed, right? So, but I could designate it to just certain groups if I wanted to. So anyway, we're going back out of here. Right, so that's just customized, but I leave it on all contacts. Now, the other thing here is that right above all contacts, right below the contacts display title bar at the top, right there where it says account data, I can just, you see it showing those two email addresses that I am synced up to, right? It's showing both of the email addresses that I'm synced up to and displaying contacts from, and I can see the Gmail from and all that stuff if I want. But main thing for me is displaying the contact from these accounts, right? And like I said, each account can store up to about 25,000 contacts, maybe give or take a little bit, but it can go over a little bit at least, but it depends on maybe how much data is. I'm not sure exactly what the rule is, but roughly in that range. Now, if I click right on here, right below account data, right there, right? See what I did? Now, it's opening up the second screen, and it may take a few seconds to open up depending on your phone, but it opens up this extra screen right here, which is showing accounts that I want to sync up to, or I want to display. Like I'm already synced up to them because you see we went into our settings and went to accounts and all that stuff. But right now I'm in DW contacts and I want to display the contacts from these accounts in DW contacts so I can either call or text them or whatever I'm doing, right? So they can still be synced up to my phone. They could be displaying in my regular phone's dialer too. Like you can see if I go out of here for a minute and I go to my regular phone's dialer, it's going to show, you know, my keypad, my recents at the bottom here is showing my general contacts, and I could just, these are all my contacts, the same ones that I have, right? So, and this showing up the top 33,000 with phone numbers, right? So it's not showing, it's just saying that, you know, in other words, the other 15,000 or whatever are not phone numbers. They have just email only. So, but I can see all the same contacts in my regular stock phone dialer here, right? That are in my DW contacts, right? And I could have DW contacts just showing certain ones. My phone's dialer might have some option for that too. Like if I'm here in my regular phone's dialer, it might say manage contacts, which ones you want to display or something like, maybe not, but something like that. It might have something similar, but you know, that's your phone stock dialer, right? So, and it should maybe show on your contacts or wherever your contacts are normally displayed on your phone. But I'm in DW contacts. We're back on this screen here. I have it displaying the contacts from at least these 2 accounts. These other accounts are just, like, I have Telegram on here. I don't really mess with that, but in Messenger from like Facebook or whatever. So, but I'm not trying to sync those. I'm not worried about those at the moment. You could sync them if you want to go in and see what contacts might be on those ones. Maybe you have some kind of information there, you want to clean them up or whatever, but for right now, I just have it synced, displaying contacts from both of my email accounts. So I don't really need to change anything, I'm just pressing cancel. So like I said, we're pressing right below account data, right? That's how we get to that screen. So it doesn't seem necessarily obvious at first, but we're up here in this area here when we press that to get that screen. So I'm pressing back. We're going back out of contacts to display. We're back in the general area of DW contact. When we open it up, we're in the contacts tab right now, right? So when we're in the contacts tab, you can see on the top right, you can see it says search at the top. You can see there's the A to Z. These are like some features I don't use as much. You can see there's add a contact if you wanted to add a contact. Now if you add a contact in here and it's synced up to your Google Contacts, then it's going to appear in your Google Contacts the next time you log into your Google Contacts, like on your computer, for instance, right? So it's going to be synced up. If you add a contact in here in and on your phone or whatever, either way, whether it's through DW Contacts or through your regular phone's contacts, either way, it's going to sync up to whatever account you added it to. When you create the contact, it'll say what account do you want to save it to your phone device? Do you want to save it to an online device account like Google Contacts that you might be logged into? Whatever, it's going to ask you what account you want to save it to or a device you want to save it to when you save it a contact. So these are all saved into my Google Contact account. So like I said, they're not actually saved on my phone. They're just displaying on my phone because this is displaying contacts from my Google Contacts accounts once again. So I'm here in the Contacts tab, and I keep doing that extra press. Let me see if I close it right here, and I can just close it completely. If I want to refresh it and come back fresh, you can see it showing contacts at the top. Either way, I can see I was in the contacts area, right? So it's displaying all my contacts, telling me how many contacts I have displaying here. And you can see there's some different elements here, like it's showing their name, it's showing some group information, like labels, like what group they're in, like if they're in Mountain Time, etc. I have some groups for that, and I have them in certain groups. So it's showing some of that info right there, not necessarily all of it, because there could be in a few groups, etc. But it's showing at least the first couple few. Now I also have right next to that right here, we have in this column over here, we can see we have an email button. So if I wanted to email this person real quick, it automatically opens up an email option. So if I wanted to open, like if I wanted to send it in Gmail, for instance, then it starts setting up an email to this person, right? So it's kind of a quick way if I wanted to email somebody real quick from my phone that's in my contacts here. Then I have next to it, we have on just to the right of that, we have a text button. This is to text them, right? It's going to automatically set up a text message to this person in DW Contacts. I can start typing my message and blah, 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 and just send it SMS or MMS, whether I press regular or long press it. Either way, and bottom line. Now, if I wanted to do an SMS also, that's another thing about doing MMS. This is MMS, right? And then I could do this little clip on the left if I wanted to attach like an image or something, right? So I could just say, hey, I want to attach this image of whatever this screen or whatever it is, right? So, or this, so it'll attach it to the text. So that way they'll get the text and the image if I'm wanting to send some image for some reason. I don't really use that for much of any reason unless I'm sending a picture for, some reason or whatever, but you get the idea. So that's an attachment. You can also attach a voice message, like if you have a recording on your phone, or maybe even a certain length of a video clip or a GIF or something like that. But so that's another way to, that's if you want, that'll automatically set up an MMS. So if I do that, if I put this message with this image here to send with it, it's automatically, you can see it says MMS over here all of a sudden. So it's going to automatically send it as an MMS when you attach something. But if I didn't attach something and I wanted to send it as an MMS, like I said, I could long press and press that right there. So anyway, let's get at it there. We're just showing you how to send a text message to an individual in this list with this button. I don't have to have these buttons on here. They're optional. You can see in the last row here, we have a dial button, right? So if I want to call this person, I can press that button. It's open it up. I start dialing the person. I don't want to dial right now, but you can see here it's showing me this this little widget that opens up. Now this little widget's great. Like I can open up the contact by pressing on that little head button. It's going to open up the contact. But we're not trying to get into that right at the moment. But that little widget's good because it has different elements or whatever. It has a little text option right at the top there. Yeah, I can share the contact with a partner or whatever it is, right? And you can see it's showing me some information in the widget, like the group it's in and all that stuff. So that widget, that's a really helpful little tool, and it has to be enabled. So we'll show you that in the settings here in just a minute. So like I said, an email, text, and call button, right? Email, text, and call buttons that are right here, and you can take them off or add them on, except for the call. I think the call is automatic. Now there's another thing I can do right here. If you notice, I'm here. So I'm making a dial by swiping to the right, and that's another feature we need to enable, right? So if I want to dial through a few numbers kind of quickly, I like to do that. I like to be able to just swipe right, and then also there's some other features like when I dial someone, does it put the contact, does it leave it there, or if I want to have it move the contact to the top of the list, like you can see here. Let me see if it's kind of laggy, but if I go to the top, well, maybe it's not quite set up to do that. Like I normally, maybe it'll take a minute to do it, but what it'll do is it'll take the number I just dialed and put it at the top of the list. So these are different parts of the settings. So right here, I'm in this contacts tab here. We're going to go ahead and press the three dots on the right. And it's opening up that screen where we went over here to contacts the display just a minute ago. And we did that setting and we went through that and showed you that. And I'm going to go back up to the top here. Let's go to the top and go through sort order. Now these are the settings I generally prefer. I don't know every setting here. But you can see here at the bottom of this list here, there's another settings menu, right? That's more of our main overall settings. This right here is just a general menu that we're in right now, right? If we go to the top item, it says sort order. Now if I hit that, it's going to ask me how do I want to sort this list of contacts that I'm displaying. Do I want it to be in alphabetical order according to first name? Do I want to go back and put it according to, there's some other fields here I don't use, like phonetic first name, etc. I like to use most recently contacted, right? I'm going to have it on recent contacted. Now there's other ones here you can see, basically they're pretty self-explanatory, most of them. I put it on recent contacted, meaning that, like I say, anybody that I dial, once I'm done dialing that number, it's going to go to the top of the list, right? So I could dial any one of these numbers, and once I'm done dialing it, it's going to go to the top of this list and not be there. So I could just dial through more numbers, not worry about dialing people twice, etc. So that's what that sort order means. So I'm going back to this menu, right? So now we're back here in the contacts tab. We already set our sort order to recent contacted. So let's go back to that same tab. Now we have the second item here is multi-select. If we hit multi-select, it's going to show this little box right next to each contact. So if I hit that box, now you can see I have some contacts here that don't have a phone number. But that doesn't really matter, actually. I can email or I can text them. You can see here at the top we have this text button and we have this email button at the top, right? This text and email button. So if I highlight some contacts, like let's say I select, or I could do right click and select all. I could do some different things. I could do this from either one of these menus. You can see this one here at the top. Like you see, you have 2 3-dot lines now that I did this multi-select here. So they're both got a couple of different functions, have more different options a little bit. But they both have the select all option. So, but just you can see if I open up this one as a smaller, more general menu of some items, show sidebar. I don't really ever use that. But it's got this little extra sidebar if you want to see groups and company lines right there. Like I don't ever use that, but you could, it's there. It's an option. I'm going to hide it. But inverse means if I want to like unselect these checked ones and select all the ones that are unchecked, right? So if I inverse, You can see what it's doing there. It's unchecking these ones and selecting all the ones that are unchecked. So this is this bottom 3-dot menu right here real quickly, right? So then I have unselect all, pretty self-explanatory. Select all, pretty self-explanatory. I'm in multi-select mode already, so I don't really need to. I can go out of it. That's essentially taking me back out of it if I want. Now I'm back out of it. I can go back in it by pressing the 3 dots again, going back into multi-select mode. So we have select all that stuff. So we just showed you what was there. We don't have any selected right now, it looks like. Normally it'll show me right over here like how many are selected, but because we're in this particular menu, I can't actually see the number. It says selected X number of contacts. Right now I'm pretty sure it's 0 though. We just unchecked all, unselected all, right? So now right here on this top 3-dot menu, this is a bigger menu here. You can see we have export contact picture. I never used that. I don't know exactly what that's for, but remove photo, show history, add to do, separate. Maybe I have a contact that is merged. It's like 2 contacts that are merged together, right? And I'll show you maybe more about that. That's another feature in the groups area, right? If you go to groups, it'll show you merged contacts. And that's what this would do. It'll allow you to separate any contacts that are merged. Now, we don't know if any of these are merged. I know they're probably not, so I'm not worried about messing with that. But duplicate contacts, I haven't really used that on this. It might maybe show us, maybe it'll show us if some contacts are in multiple accounts or something. I haven't really messed with that as much, so I don't claim to know what that does. Delete contacts, if I have some selected and then I press delete, obviously that's going to delete them. Or set groups for contact. I select some certain contacts I feel like belong in a certain group, then I can go ahead and hit, I can hit like these 3 right here, and then select a group for set group for contacts. I don't really use this here very much, but I could add them to a group easily, any of my groups that I have on my accounts. And it'll show the groups from both of my accounts kind of blended together, if you will, but both of them have essentially the same group, so it's not a really big deal. But so that's what that means there as far as setting groups for contacts. So I'm back here in this menu here going, and I'm still in multi-select mode. You can see right here, set ringtone, set contact picture. That's kind of trivial stuff. Add contacts, favorite, blah blah blah. And then we can see here you have select all, unselect all, and inverse again. Right? Now we also had this sort order here, right? We just did sort order at the top of that other menu previously, right? And then let's go back to there so you can see how we're back there. I press back again. I'm not in multi-select mode. We're here again pressing the 3-dot menu. That's where sort order is again, right? But once again, and this is another settings area here. Whoops, sorry. Let me go back to multi-select. You see here, on this 3 dots, maybe you can get an idea of this navigation. It's a little tricky at first, kind of getting it all, but it's, but anyway, see, we have sort order here too. I'm going to go in here and make sure this also says recent contacted. And there's like 3, maybe even up to 4 places where it says sort order. And I don't know why, but I just like to make sure they're all checked to make sure it's definitely working. But you'll notice if you're dialing a number from your phone on dwcontacts, you'll see if it goes to the top of the list, etc. So we're going down right here. We just basically went through all this stuff here. View selected, I don't really mess with that. I might like open them up in a way that might be troublesome, but you can mess with it and kind of tinker and see what everything does more if you like. But anyway, I'm in multi-select. Let me go back out of multi-select mode. I can press the back button on my phone, which is at the bottom of my screen down here, or I can press this back button at the top left of the screen, kind of either way. But it's going back out of multi-select mode. Right now it's out of multi-select mode. I'm still in the contacts area. I'm going to go ahead and press this 3 dots again. We're back here in this menu here, which says we just did the sort order and multi-select, and then we have SMS, send SMS or MMS to shown contacts. Like right now I don't have to even put it in multi-select mode. If I just hit this, it's going to set up a text message essentially to all these people. Now I don't want to do that because that's 50,000. I'm not going to obviously be doing that, but that's if I was just like not, normally I'll search a certain list of contacts according to tags in the contact or a group that they're in or something that's in the company line, etc., which is like basically a tag. That's how I will, search some people to text at one time. But this right here, like whoever, if I'm in a certain group, it'll just send a text to, just those shown contacts that are in a certain group. So if I go back here to Toolbox, go to Group, and let's say I just open up these certain contacts, let's just say a smaller folder here. Whoops. Sorry, I'm getting some messages. Let's say I go to these ones here, and I want to send just these 74 people a text. I'm doing that right there. It's automatically setting them up and checking them boxes next to them. I could press OK here and go and continue and set up a text message to them of a couple of different kinds. But we're not messing with that at the moment. We're going back to our contacts tab. Let's go back to our general contacts tab where we were at. And Bezo, can you be quiet? Okay, so I'm back in here in contacts. We're back here in the 3-dot menu at the top right. We're going back through here again. We just showed you how you can send a message to your list of whatever you see there. Same thing with email. Send email to shown contacts. It will set it up to send an email. And if you're using Gmail to send it, definitely I recommend to not send no more than 70 at a time max, and make sure it's in the BCC line, their contact addresses. So if you're sending it to some group of people on email, send it, make sure that their contact information is in the BCC line, unless you don't mind them seeing all of each other's emails and so forth. So that's send email to shown contacts here. So the next one's set ringtone for shown contact. Maybe I have a certain group of contacts I want to have a certain ringtone when they call me or something like that. Maybe you have some situation where that might be useful. Unblock calls from shown contacts. If somebody's blocked, maybe that will unblock them. The grid view here will change the view of the contacts. You can see here it's showing them in a different view here. I don't really want grid view, but it's there if you want. I want list view. So you can see I went back to list view, right? So then next one was items to show, right? That is right above the contacts to display, which we already discussed here. Items to show here, we press on items to show. This is going to give me the options of what items I want to appear in this list of contacts here. Right now I have it set to not show the phone number, but I can also set it to show the phone number. If I go back in here and items to show, I can display the phone number. It'll display the phone numbers too, right in this list. I'm leaving that part out, but I can have it display these other things here, like maybe I don't want this email button or this SMS button here, and I don't want it to show the groups. I can then do that, uncheck them, and press OK, and that's going to go ahead, and you can see now it's not showing that little notes on the groups at the bottom, and it's not showing, so it's not showing, and it's also not showing the email or text button that we had at the right. Maybe I prefer to have my contacts like that for some reason. Now, I prefer to have that stuff on there for now, at least. So I'm going back to items to show, and I'm having those things on there. I recommend having everything on there except for maybe notes. That's what I personally have, is I have everything checked. I check numbers as well, but for this purpose of this video, I'm just leaving them unchecked, so the phone numbers are not all displayed so much. But anyway, so you can see that's how we use this little menu, this first menu, when we were in contacts and we're pressing the 3-dot, and it's a little slow, but you can see we're pressing this 3-dot. Now the last one here, the last two, of course, contacts to display, we already discussed earlier in this video. So go back and watch that if you need to again, so you can understand contacts to display in the DW Contacts app, right? Then also show sidebar. That was the one I just showed you about showing the sidebar with the groups. Now the last one is your main settings, right? So if we go into our main settings area here, we click on settings. This is going to show us the overall app settings. So when we're in here, we're going to go through each one at a time, and they have a few different things that I don't know, so I'm not claiming to know everything. I'm just giving you the settings that I use the most, or the way I generally leave it for now, until I learn some better way to use it. But you can see this first one here in this settings area. So like I said, we opened up this first menu. Once again, let me go back here just to show you once again, if I can. It's a little laggy there, but I'm in the contacts area here on DW Contacts, displaying contacts of whatever I have in my Google account or my phone or whatever I want to have displayed. In my case, it's just from my Google Contacts accounts. That's where I have all my contacts stored. If I open it, you can see right here as well, next to each contact, it's showing the Gmail button, showing that they're in a Google Contacts account. Right, maybe it can't show me every specific, like which account they're in right here because the screen's too small, but it's showing me those are in Google Contacts account with this Gmail button right here. So anyway, going back in here and going back to this kind of first initial menu or setting. It's not really the setting, it's just a menu, I guess, if you will. But if you go down to the bottom and go to settings, right, we're in this main settings area. Now, if we're in the main settings area here, we go to this first one. It's global settings. Now, this has a few things here. Contacts to display again. Should take you into the same menu we went into earlier with contacts to display, right? It's going to go to the same exact area. So I can do all contacts. I can click here to open up and show which counts I'm synced to that I want to display, right? So I'm going back out of that. I'm backing out of that. I don't need to change anything there. Display contacts by, and I could have it do first name, whatever default. I have it just set to default because I already have the sort order being set to most recent, so I shouldn't have to change anything about that. I don't want to do it by name because I want to have it by most recent. So I'm just leaving that as default. So select name field to show. If I click on that, it's just let me know if it's going to show first and last. I don't really want middle name on there. I don't really have anything in there, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off, actually. But it's not real critical, probably. Whatever. At least the first and last name are displaying of a contact, right? So click list entry action. This is going to take you to, if you click on a contact that's in the list, what is it going to do? Is it going to dial the number? Is it going to view the contact details? That's what I have it set to right here. View contact details. It's going to open up a little screen and show, or a contact screen, and show me the details of that contact. I could have it say view contact history, like when have I called that person, etc., or some other stuff here as well. Call the number, or call the default number or whatever. I just have it on view contact details, so when I click on a contact, it's just opening up a more detailed screen where I can see more about the contact. So that's nothing major, but you might set that if you notice that it's not doing what you want to do when you click on a contact or open up a contact, right? So that's in the DW contacts contact list. So right here you can see here, click icon actions. Let me see here, click entry. Click list entry actions. That's interesting. Huh, I'm surprised it's showing the time. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That's not the time from that. Okay, anyway, so click icon actions. If I click on their picture, maybe it'll say, do I want to view a quick contact badge, which was I was talking about. It just shows a little short screen, a brief screen, a little more about the contact before maybe showing a full contact screen. And some other stuff there, right? I'm not really messing with that, but some of it's self-explanatory, I think. If I click on their icon, does it set me up to send them an email? Whatever, right? I have it just on view quick contact badge, right? So zoom a contact picture, zoom mode, I've never messed with that. I don't know exactly, but it's just, you can see there's some stuff in here. If I keep going down, haptic feedbacks, right? Ain't really anything else in here that I'm going to mess with here. But you might figure out like left-handed operation, etc. So that's that first global settings area, right? Global settings. The next one, theme settings. This is more about the cosmetics of the app and a few different elements of do you want the text large, etc. So you could experiment with that. I don't really mess with it. So that's theme settings. T9 search settings, like when you're searching through your contacts, what are the rules that you want it to use. This could be a little tricky to understand. You can see the settings that I have here sorted by degree of match, and then the next one's unchecked, next two are checked, next one's unchecked. So I'm just running through what I have checked here. You can see if I scroll all the way to the bottom on these options, you can see these second to the last three being unchecked here, right? And then these three being checked. So that's the way I have it. You could experiment if you want to come back to this video and make sure it's set this way here. Then, I think we're at 53 minutes on here. So anyway, I'm going to press back here to get out of that because I have them set the way we want to. And like I said, you can see once again how those are set. Language for T9, I haven't really needed to, maybe that's about English, or I don't know what that is. So I haven't really had to change that. So I'm back in the settings here. I just pressed back again and we're back here. So the next one is phone. Phone. When I open up phone, this is got some stuff about SIM card configuration, which hopefully we don't have to mess with. Quick dial manager, quick dial limit. I'm not messing with those because I don't really mess with that feature. But the fourth one down here is sort list by. I want to go in here and check again And also make sure that this area is also set to recently contacted. And it is, so we already have that set, sort list by, right? It's under the phone area of the settings, right? The next one, reverse list. I'm not doing that. That probably just turns the list upside down. Click list entry action here. Action when you click the list, I want it to view contact details. So that's what I have it. But like I said, you see other options. And it has a couple versions of these, each of some of these settings in here. So you just have to kind of like set them all to where you want them. Like maybe, like I said, the sort order. Any areas I see that, I'm going to have it all set to recent contacted. Now the next one down here is enable sliding action. That's where I was telling you if you make a phone call with dwcontacts, you can just swipe to the right. Right, and it starts dialing the number. I like to have that checked, of course, so that's there. And if you don't, you can take it off, obviously. All contacts with phone numbers. I want all contacts with phone numbers to display, which I have it displaying all my contacts. So really, this is just the way I have it set here. So you might just go ahead and check it if you want to have it the same settings. You can tinker with it and see what else it does if you like. But for the moment, you can see here, as I go down here, all contacts with phone numbers. Sliding down, high statistics, blah, blah, blah. There ain't really much else here I really mess with. You can see the settings I have. We're going to keep going down. Right, haptic feedback. I like to have the vibration settings so I know when I press a button, etc. So anyway, you can see all this stuff here. Show call log, whatever. I don't really know what some of that stuff does, or some of the elements I'm not really messing with as much. But you can see the settings we have all the way down here, right? So this is the phone settings once again. So go ahead and press back. Next one here going down is contacts. Right, contact. You can see here at the top of this one here, it has sort list by again. I want to go in here and make sure that is set to recent contacted. Right, so that's for the whatever setting that you're preferring to have it in at the moment. I have it in recent contacted generally all the time. So I have that set once again. That's just another area where that's popping up for whatever reason. I don't know everything about this app. I'm just showing you what I know. Show starred contacts at the top. I don't really want to have them there, but if you want to have your starred or favorite contacts like exclusively at the top of your contact list, I don't want to have them in the way kind of when I'm like dialing through those numbers. And I have them in my regular, and I have the group, and I can just go in there at any time if I want, but I'm not worried about that, so I leave it off. But if you want to have, a few key contacts at the top of your list, that's there. Enable sliding action. I have it checked here too as well, of course. Which should be checked in both areas. But anyway, and it is. So show always add. I don't really know what that is, the last ones, so I'm not messing with any of these. Show in sidebar, I'm not really worried about that. Maybe some of this stuff is useful, but this is, I just going to go, quick as I can going through here, but being thorough. So contact details. So that's the next one, right? You can see what I have set here. I'm really tinkering with this area too much. It probably is set like this already as default. So that's contact details. The next one's history. I'm not messing with this really, but I don't know exactly what that's going to tell me that I need to know per se, but it's there if you want to check it out. Groups. If I go into groups, that's going to give me some settings for my contact labels or groups, as like I talked about when you maybe create some contact labels or groups. You can create them on dwcontacts or in your phone. They're going to sync up and display on your dwcontact, but also on your Google Contacts account if you're synced up to your Google Contacts account, right? And whatever groups or labels you created in the Google Contacts account are going to be synced up on your phone, right? So, but I'm going to go ahead and show automatic groups, which are some groups that are standard in dwcontacts. They have a few standard groups that they create. You can't delete, that they're automatic, and I'm going to have it display them. You can see a couple of examples. All contacts, ungrouped contacts. Maybe you have some contacts that aren't in any specific group. It's going to show them in one group, if you will, one folder that's going to say, hey, these are the ones that are not grouped. And they might be in your overall Google Contacts. And using Google Contacts itself has its own little elements. It's pretty simple overall, but you want to make sure all your contacts in your Google Contacts account on your computer are in your main Google Contacts folder. Right? So there's some elements to that, right? So like the trash bin, clean it out, stuff like that. But that's part of your Google Contacts that you're synced up to. So that's its own little thing to learn. Maybe not quite as much as this, but you can see here we got so show automatic groups, and you can see what I have checked here. I have everything shown here. So this is going to show system groups, merge groups, merge similar named groups. I don't know if I necessarily want to have that checked. I mean, I probably don't really have much of an issue with that, but I might want things to not be merged, and I want to manually, edit them and make them the way I want so they're not like merging. Anyway, I have all these checked for now, so you can get an idea of some of them if you like, but that's what I have. Groups, right? The next one is search. This is more of a vague, search history, restore state when restore. I'm not messing with this area here myself. So next one down, events. I don't really mess with this. Might have a calendar of sorts that you can use for setting your reminders, etc. In-call widget. This is that little box that pops up when I dial the phone number. So when I hit the in-call widget, it's allowing me to enable it. You can see here what I have here as far as settings. These ones here, I guess, are optional. I turned that one off. I don't want it to speak the caller ID. So if I keep going down here, you can see it says Enable In-Call Widget. I have that checked so that when I dial the number, it opens up that extra little box so I can see more of the notes. I can see, maybe it'll show me the time zone or the state that their number's in. I can tell, oh, well, this person in New York, I don't want to call this person right now, or whatever it is. It's just helpful to have that Enable In-Call Widget. Display when dialing. I have it checked. I'm not sure exactly. That's to display the widget when dialing right here, right? So delay to close. Maybe you can have it close. You can have it stay open longer after you're done dialing a number. I think I have it set here at 10 seconds, I guess. If I open that, so that's what it's set at here. Right here, it says 10 seconds. I can move this dial up and down to whatever I want it. So no more than 10 seconds, it's closing. So that's the in-call widget. You can see some other parts of this settings. I'm not messing with too much, but you can see the way they're set up. I can change the color of it if I want to. I don't really mess with this stuff too much. I don't want to fix what's not broken, if that makes sense. Don't want to make him mess anything up. So I'm just doing the minimal settings here that I know of. So this is in-call widget. I went back here again, right? We're in the settings area once again, in-call widget. Then we have call statistics. I don't really mess with that. It's going to show you maybe your average call time, stuff like that. I don't really have anything I think I need to do with that. Maybe if you have a limited phone plan or something, that might be important. But and then tab settings, I haven't really messed with that either. Activate and sort, I don't really know. Something maybe it changes the arrangement of the app or something. But this last, getting down here, moving further back, at least we have tab settings and we have background service settings. I'm not worried about it. Let's get this one last main setting here is SMS and email settings, right? SMS and email settings. So these are some of the rules that would come into play when I'm sending a text or an email from dwcontacts. So you can see here at the top here, we go down here below this first one, it says text message SMS settings, and we see this right here. We can press that. I want it to send to all phone numbers. So if there's multiple phone numbers in a contact, I want it to send the message to both of those however many phone numbers are in the contact. So I have it set to all numbers. I can have it set to all mobile numbers. So whatever number is in the mobile number contact field is what it'll send to, or default or first mobile number or whatever. I just have it set to all numbers. That's what I recommend probably for most of the time. So all numbers right there on that first setting, and limit for a number of recipients. I don't know exactly how this works. Maybe in one messaging session, like if you're sending out a text to a couple hundred people or whatever, it'll send it to no more than whatever, and then it'll pause or something like that. I don't claim to know. It says when the number of recipients is greater than this value, send in batches automatically. So I don't claim to know exactly what that means, and maybe you know or have an idea. Maybe let me know if you do. Anything you learn about this app is certainly welcomed. You send this video to a team member or somebody that's wanting to learn how to use this app properly. Just get the link to this video and send it to them. So that's limit for number of recipients. When the number of recipients is greater than this value, send in batches automatically. I'm not quite clear what that does, but I haven't really had an issue with it. Like I said, you might have to restart text messaging if you're like sending out a batch of text message, for example. So here, send interval. This is how many seconds it'll wait between each text message. If you're sending a group of text message out to a group of people, and it's sending them individually, is it going to send them like 1 second between each one, 3 seconds, 5, 10 seconds, however much you want to space them out? And there might be some different reasons why you might want to space them out. I have it set to 4 seconds at the moment. I don't necessarily want them to send out too fast. It might like jam up the messaging and cause some problem. I don't know exactly. I like to have it slightly slower than, not too fast, but maybe there's some reason you want to have it slower as well. But anyway, I have it set to 4 seconds. So that's the interval between each text message if you're sending a text message. So there's some other things here. SMS signature, if you want to have like, something that appears at the bottom of every message automatically, you could do it there. I don't do that because I might want to send out various type of messages. So anyway, that's that. Use default SMS program. I have that unchecked because I want to use dwcontacts when I'm sending the message. Not that it necessarily wouldn't work well, but I want to stay in dwcontacts, so I'm leaving that unchecked. Store sent SMS to database. I'm not doing that. I don't know why I would need to do that, but so anyway, this is getting down here towards the bottom. The SMS and email settings here, once again at the top here, we're in the screen. We get down to the bottom, it says email. This is kind of like the text option up at the top. It says, do you want to send to just their first or default email address, or do you want to send it to all email addresses that are in the contact card? I want to send it to all email addresses. I have it set to all, right? Last one here is important, recipient anonymity. So when I'm sending out an email, do I want it to automatically send directly to those contacts with their emails in the to line? Which means it's probably just going to send it to one contact or something like that. Do I want to send it carbon copy where all emails are in the to line? Right? They could all see that you sent the email out to all those people when you're doing that. I have it sent to blind carbon copy, BCC. So that way when I have all their email addresses in the BCC line of several people and I'm sending an email message to them, then, and like I said, not sending to any more than 70 with Gmail. If you're using a different email service, maybe you can send more or something, but with Gmail, no more than 70 max, right? You might even send in smaller batches because, to keep your emails from going to the spam folder and stuff like that. So anyway, we got BCC checked. So that's it. So blind carbon copy. Email program, let me see, use default email or prompted to choose when sending. I have it set to prompted to choose. It hasn't really been an issue for me, but so anyway, so we just went through all these settings right here, right? So go back and watch that again if you need to, and just look at the screen you need to see exactly what is, what you want to do. So actually, I'm back here. Let me see, how do we get into that? Oh yeah, we were in the SMS and email settings. So I'm going back here into the regular general settings. So that's basically everything. There's some other stuff here, accessibility, like, I'm not sure exactly what that is, but backup and restore. I don't do my backup and restore stuff from here. I like, if I'm going to export and back up my contacts, I'm going to do them from Google Contacts. And then other here, just some information about the app. Maybe you want to leave them a rating. This app is a really killer app, to be honest. This app is an awesome app. This app is very powerful, and for the price, it's only $10 one-time fee if you want to have the upgraded version. But even with the free version, you can really do much of what I just showed you. So anyway, let's get back out of the settings area here real quick. I backed out of it. Now we're back into the contacts, and it's bringing up my contacts. It's taking a moment because there's a lot of them, right? So now, like you said, we can swipe right if I want to dial a contact, right? Swipe right, and it brings up the contact widget, where I could have little extra buttons here if I want to minimize it and maximize that little screen, or if I want to open up their contact, press the little person button there, the little icon of the person is kind of like this one. So anyway, so we're in here. I'm generally adding and deleting and editing my contacts in my Google Contacts account, which I also use an extra Chrome, or I think you can add it to other browsers like Firefox as well, but it's an add-on called Google Contacts Editor, which kind of puts your Google Contacts into more of a spreadsheet format. It will log you in to your Google account. Now, this is on your computer. right? It's called Google Contacts Editor, and the Chrome extension or add-on store you can go to just google.com and type Chrome extension store or Chrome add-on store, and it'll bring up the store, and you can type up Google Contacts Editor if you want to check it out. And it's powerful because it allows you to log into your Google Contacts account, but it'll display all your contacts in more of an Excel spreadsheet type of format where you can edit them easier. You can edit just the company line and all because with Google Contacts itself, it has its own method. It's good, it's not bad, but it's not easy to necessarily edit a bunch of contacts at once, for instance, stuff like that. So I'm getting into some other stuff and technical elements of that, so maybe we'll get into some other training on that. But at the moment, I'm talking about this DW Contacts, right? So synced up to our Google Contacts account, right, or accounts in this case. We see how we can dial a number by swiping right. We can email, we can text, we can dial the number using the button on the right. If we just want to just press that button or swipe right, either way, it's going to dial the number, right? So this is the contacts area here. Now if you press this button on the three-dot menu again, we go here and open up this multi-select. I'm just showing you, like I can send an SMS or email to all the contacts. Right now it's taking a moment because there's a lot of contact. But right here it's a multi-select mode. And let's just say I want to select, maybe I just want to do, I could do as many as I want, and maybe I feel like I want to do 100 or whatever kind of message I'm sending out. I'm just selecting 4 right now. So I just selected these 4 contacts. Maybe I want to search certain contacts, and maybe I want to uncheck here. Let me see. It's giving me a little hard time unchecking boxes here, but if we uncheck, okay, if I can uncheck that one, or I could do unselect all if I want. But either way, I could also go right here and search while I'm in multi-select mode. And let's just say I want to search some certain contacts that all have this code in here. And it's going to take a moment to completely search. Now you can see it's just bringing up all the contacts that have this FR0 in somewhere in the contact. In this case, it's in the company line, which is displaying. You can see it. So it's bringing up all these contacts that are considered to be fresh or in queue or open. It's okay to call them because they haven't told me not interested any time recently. So that way, if I wanted to just, now I'm not going to text this many contacts at once. This is a lot. Like I might text up to a few hundred or something like that, or 1,000, or depends on what I'm trying to do exactly. But if I wanted to, I could hit select all theoretically, and then press this text button right here, and it'll start setting up a text message to all these people. And I can send it as a single message where they'll see that I sent it to all of them. And if any of them reply, now I can't send to this many people to do that anyway. The phone doesn't allow you to. But let's do unselect. Right, now if I was to select, up to 20 of them. Now I'm selecting 5. But if I hit this text button at the time, I could email them too. It's going to start sending up an email with all their emails in the BCC line, because that's the way I had the settings. But I'm not doing that. I'm doing the text button. When I do the text button, it puts them in this next list here, just those contacts that we have checked, right? It says selected 5 contacts. However many I have checked is what it's going to show here. It's going to have them selected. So when I have these selected here, I can go ahead and press OK to continue, right? And then it's going to take me to this screen, and it's going to have all their numbers here, separated by a comma, right? Now, since it's less than 20, I could send a message to all of them at one time, like they'll see it all together. Now, I don't want to do that. Now, occasionally I use that for different reasons, but generally speaking, when I'm sending text with this, I want it to send them individual text, where they're not seeing that I'm sending it to a bunch of other people, right? Then when they respond to it, I'm the only one that's getting the reply, if that makes sense. So now, you can see here we have their numbers up there ready to be texted to. We have a place down here where we can start writing the text message, and you can see it has a customizable field. So this button up here allows me to customize their name. If I make sure this is on, I have it on, doesn't matter either way really, but if I have it off, it's not going to allow me to customize their name in there. But if I have it on, you can see here, if I put their name, it's got some codes right here, right? Some codes like $?G. If I put that in there, it's going to put in just and I have this on, right, it's going to put in hello and their first name, and I can put comma, and you see it right here, I'm writing the message, right, down here. How are you doing? Let me know, whatever, just, you can see it's writing the message with their name in there, so when it sends a text message out to these 20 people, each one's going to get a custom message with their name, if that makes sense. And so whatever the message I want to write, how are you doing? It's Micah here, give me a call, or let me know, or whatever. Or if I sent you a video, would you watch it? Or whatever I'm writing the message about. So anyway, so that's that. And so I got the ability to send and customize the name of a text message I would send out, right? So let's see if I send this one here, we'll see. Now I could also, if I send the messages, this is the message. Now if I wanted to send, like right here, I could press this button right here. It allows me to add a picture if I wanted to, right? Now you see it has this little attachment thing here, so I can select a picture if I wanted to. Maybe I don't want to send a picture, I just want to send them an MMS message to all of them at one time, where they're all going to see that I'm sending it to each one of them, right? Many of the times I don't really notice that if you did that, but generally speaking, you don't want to do that probably most of the time, unless it's like your family, you wanted them all be in a group, or a certain group of leaders are together, like they're in a core group or something like that. They understand they're going to be receiving this conversation thread, they're going to be seeing text replies from other people in the thread, etc. Otherwise, you'd want to just do it as individual. So we're going back out of here. You see if I do this message here like this as a group, it's going to send it as an MMS. Whether I add any multimedia to it or not, whether I add a picture or anything like that to it or not, it's sending it as an MMS. So I'm not going to send this message. I'm going to go ahead and back out of it. But that's how you would send a group text like that. Up to 20 people typically. Maybe your phone service has or your phone has some slightly different rules, I think, but I'm pretty sure it's like 20 is pretty standard as a top for that kind of group, text message. Now, we're not trying to send out a group message, we're trying to send out a mass message. So, like I said, like the all 21 now, I would never send out 21,000 at a time. I send out up to a few hundred at a time, typically, or 1,000, or I've done up to a couple thousand, whatever. But typically you might start out smaller if you're doing this, right? So right here I have these 5 selected. I could go ahead and press this button right here again to text, and instead of when I go to press OK, I'm not going to add a picture to it. I'm just leaving it in the regular SMS mode. I'm customizing the name. Hello, I'm taking this comma out here, which for whatever reason they put that there. I'm just rechanging the text of this message, let me know, hello, whatever. Do you still want some information about earning extra income part-time or from home? ? Would you watch a 20-minute video description? ? So this is just, I'm not putting my name in here. It's kind of like late at the moment. I'm just going to go and send this one sample message here. Maybe someone will even reply. Who knows? But I'm not adding any multimedia to. I can send it to more than 20 people. I can send it to potentially as many as I want, as many as my phone will let me send in any period of time without throttling my text or giving me some kind of ban or whatever. Usually if it does give you a ban, it's usually just a temporary thing. If you give it 24 hours or something, your text will be restored, or maybe a little longer than that. Depends on exactly what the rules are to your phone service. So that's why I recommend starting out with a handful at a time at first, maybe up to 50 or 100 if you're sending out text messages to a group of people, for instance. So right here we got this message. Now if I press send, I'm going to go and press send right here, and I didn't add any multimedia or any attachments or anything. So if I press send right now, it's going to go ahead and send this message with their names customized. So I'm sending it, and it had to do a little extra screen. Sometimes that screen takes a little longer if you have a lot of people you're sending it to. But right now you can see it takes me to this screen here called this SMS screen, where it's showing me the messages in queue. And I was in this screen at the beginning of this video. There wasn't any messages going on. But I got this messages in queue, and it's saying, oh, sent such and such. And then it's got one more here. And then it's going to say that they're all sent. Right, and then it's going to give me this little notification on my phone here. It's going to say all messages were sent successfully. If they weren't all sent successfully, it'll say, oh, well, X number of messages are remaining to be sent or unsent. And then you can press in here, and it'll take you back to this screen, and you could continue to send the rest of them. Like maybe it pauses, or maybe you paused it by pressing this pause button. Excuse me. So if you're sending out a bunch of text and maybe it gets delayed or something like that before they're done, you can pause it, right? So this is where we're now, and then this is going to fill up with messages as you send out messages. So every now and then you're going to go in here and press these 3 dots while you're in this SMS area, and then hit delete, and it's going to delete all of these that were in the queue that got sent in this case. We also have settings. It goes right back to our main settings area for the SMS and email settings inside of the settings area here. So you can see that's where we're at just there. But going back to the SMS screen, you can see I just deleted those, right? So now we go back out of there. So you can see how I can continue or pause, right, the text. But I'm going back out of here, and we're here where we have these messages selected. We just sent them a message. You know, they're probably not going to respond right now, but if I send out a good few, some people might respond, depending on who's, you know, maybe some of the people I'm sending it to have a disconnected phone number or a bad phone number. Like you see right here, for example, I have somebody with a note, and the phone number was restricted. Like it was just showing just a second ago. Let me go down here. You can see these ones with a red. So I have a few of them, like they kind of only show for a moment because they're not the primary display. But like right here it says disconnected. So obviously, you know, I don't really want to text that person probably because I know the number is disconnected. I'm going to delete that number. I just did that like the first time I get disconnected. I might give them one more chance just in case it was a false alarm or something. So maybe I want to put this FR0 and then go here and then put a hyphen for minus and then put, you know, disconnected. Because that's in the tag, that's tagged in those contacts that I have with disconnects, and it's going to subtract them from this list. You can see that number here changes, right? It just went to a lower number because I had like, you know, 30 or 40 disconnects on my list that I haven't deleted yet. So, but I have them marked, so I was able to put in a contact tag that I want to search and then subtract a tag in them that I don't want, like disconnected or numbers that were, you know, no ring NAC, which means not accepting calls. I'm pretty sure those numbers are not accepting calls, like their numbers temporarily disconnected, or they didn't pay their phone bill. I might even eventually delete them, but I might give them a few chances, you know, and I like to mark them so that way I can filter them out when I'm dialing numbers or when I'm texting numbers like I'm doing right here. So that way I'm only texting or, you know, being ready. Now I have in a multi-select mode right now, so I could send, like I could set up to send a text to some of them, like select them. I don't have to be in multi-select mode to use the search feature. I'm out of the multi-select mode, and I'm just going to search some contacts according to some criteria. And you see I have several listed criteria in here. Like this one here just has contact with my name in it. FR0, they're fresh. They have my name in it, so they're just my contacts. They're minus the no ring numbers. Maybe people that said not interested in the past. I have a few tags for that. You know, I might, you know, maybe people that hung out. Maybe I just want to, you know, text my freshest contacts for now. So I'm taking out some keyword landline where it seemed like I could tell that they don't actually receive text because it wasn't a cell phone number, for instance. Maybe I have that on some contacts. It's a little bit kind of in depth. Over time, you might build up a lot of those kinds of tags where it just helps me prevent me from sending text to people for no good reason. Maybe their numbers were disconnected or whatever. So that's just different ways I could search, right? I could search all kinds of different criterion. I could just search the disconnected numbers when I'm ready to maybe go through and dial them once again and make sure they're definitely disconnected. And then I can go ahead and go in and use Google Contacts Editor to delete their phone numbers accordingly. Maybe I'm going to save the emails and contact them that way some way later or something. So, but anyway, so that's just searching contacts right there, right? So that's pretty much everything. There really isn't a whole lot else to go in depth about, but you know, like I said, adding a contact, if you want to add it from here, I never really use that unless I'm like on the go and I meet someone or I get, you know, a random contact. I need to save the contact info, and then sure, I'll do it one at a time like this. But generally, I might be adding a good amount of contacts. Like you see, I have a lot of contacts here. I'm not adding them one at a time for the most part. I'm importing a list of contacts, or I'm copying and pasting some contacts into my Google Contacts account using the Google Contacts editor or Chrome add-on that I just talked about a few minutes ago. So, but the idea here is just to help you get keyed in on these settings for DW Contacts and how to use DW Contacts to make quick calls. Just dial a number, swipe for dialing a number. To text a group of people like we did by doing, and sorry, my phone's a little laggy right at the moment. So, but, going in here and hitting multi-select, etc., and, selecting some contacts to email or text if I want to text. And like I said, you start out with a small list of texting, maybe like 25 or 50 or 100. And then when you kind of see that's working well, and then maybe you want to double it or go up, or maybe you can eventually, like I've texted as many as a couple thousand, like with my other service, like T-Mobile business phone, it seemed to text a lot more. My current service with Xfinity allows me to send 200 SMS, and then 200 MMS, and then 200 like group text, kind of like where they're both where there's more than one person in a group, like what I just showed you, where I selected multiples, and not necessarily, I'm showing you right here. Whoops, I just had two selected. Why are they not showing? But the regular group text. Whoops, oh, that's right. I guess I didn't select another one here. So if I, not setting a regular group text, not hitting the multimedia button here, but just setting a regular SMS text so they're individualized. And you can send it to more than 20 people, once again, right? So you might tinker with it. Maybe that all gets a better understanding for you. But like I said, I'm not adding any, I'm just sending the regular SMS. I'm not long, but maybe if I do that, I might be able to, Bezo, can you be quiet? I can long press the button maybe here. Let me see. If I long press the send button here, it's going to allow me to schedule the message to be sent at a certain time. So I'm not doing that. But if I wanted to send SMS, I would do this here and add like an image. It's going to take me to this other screen. I could add the image or not add the image. Either way, it's going to send it as an MMS to no more than 20 people, all in one thread. Like I said, you probably don't want to use that too often unless you definitely know what you're doing. Like I said, with family or closer contacts, you want them all on the same thread. That would be a reason to use that. Otherwise, don't do this MMS option, but rather just send it as the regular SMS. Just going through here like this, not pressing this multimedia button. And maybe you can long press if you want to schedule the send. That's fine. It won't necessarily be MMS, but that's because we're in this part of the app here, setting up a bulk or mass text, right? So it doesn't give you that long press MMS option. To do the MMS button, you would press this button over here as if you're going to select a multimedia. So anyway, that's basically it. I'm going back out of here again, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else critical. The setting menu might do some different things on some different screens, so you might be aware of that. Like if I go to my, there's one other thing here too. Like here it doesn't have the, let me see, it doesn't seem to have the, or wait, here it has a little settings button down here, right? Same menu as what you saw in the beginning. But let's go back over here to Toolbox and go to Groups. This is another thing here as well. Like I said, I have all the groups up here towards the top are all groups that I personally created. Right, these are all groups that I've created, but down here at the bottom, towards the bottom, we have automatic groups. These are system groups that are automatic. Like it has my favorites, people that were on my favorites of, a few contacts that are starred, so if I need to contact them quickly. Then it has all contacts from all accounts that are set to display in DW Contacts, right? So that's all your contacts. Then it has ungroup contacts. If you go in here, it's going to show you anybody that's not in a Google Contacts group or label, right? So we did that. I don't have any in the ungroup contacts. And you see here, I was still in multi-select mode, I think. So let's see here. If I go in here, see, I'm still in, I might want to get back out of that. I might need to press the back button a couple times. Doesn't really maybe matter there so much. Let me go to, see, my phone gets a little laggy sometimes. But anyway, wait, I'll press back again. Okay, now I'm out of multi-select mode, just for simplicity's sake. go back to Toolbox and Groups, go to the bottom and go to Automatic Groups once again, right? So ungroup contacts, like I said, there's none in mine, but if you have contacts that are not in a label or group in Google Contacts, that'll show you them. Then you can go into Google Contacts and put them into some group if you want. So that way, I like to have it clean to where there's no contacts in this ungrouped contacts folder. So then it has all contacts with a phone number, right? Those are all the contacts that have a phone number. All the remaining contacts are the ones that don't have a phone number. So in this case, it's a difference of about 18,000 and something, right? Between the 50,000 and the 30,000, right? So all the contacts I have in both and all my Google Contacts account that are being displayed according to this display settings that I had in the settings earlier, then it has no phone number contacts. These are all the contacts that just have an email or no phone number, at least. Maybe they don't have an email in there either. You might want to double check and clean up your contacts, see if you have any contacts that are not fully completed or need to be edited and stuff like that. And you can go into Google Contacts on your computer to do that, right, if you're synced up to that account. If you have other accounts you're synced up to with your DW contacts or your Android phone in general, then you're going to have to go to those accounts, of course. So anyways, no phone number contacts. Has photo contacts. I'm not worried about that. Merged contacts. These are contacts that could be merged from multiple accounts. Now these ones here look like they're all merged from Telegram. So I'm not worried about messing with them. But it could have contacts that are merged from 2 different Google accounts. Now these are apparently people that also have Telegram. So, whatever. That's because I have Telegram on here and it's on my account or whatever. I'm not worried about splitting up these contacts per se. But if I had contacts in here aside from Telegram, maybe they might be merged from 2 different Google accounts, or maybe I have 2 contacts in one Google account that have some of the same information, like the same phone number or email address, and it's showing them in here is merged, but I want to make sure they're separated and manually edited, to where I've manually merged them myself, so they're not like in this merged contact folder. So really there's nothing unexpected in here. These are all people that are just merged because I have Telegram on here. I never really used it. I don't really know 100% of it. I was just trying to learn about it. You can see here it's showing this Telegram folder here down too. It's showing you all those same contacts that I just showed in the merge group, in merge contacts. Well, maybe there's a couple different. I need to mess with this a little more, but anyway. And then it's showing me here down at the bottom, very bottom, it's showing me the Google Contacts accounts that I'm synced up to. And that way I can select, if I want to just show the contact from just this one account, this Google account, it's now, as you can see, it's just showing these. About 25,000 is about half, because I have about 25,000 there. Same thing with this one. It's got a bunch of contacts in here. So about almost 25,000 as well. So it's just showing me the contacts from each account separated in its own. So these groups are automatically here. And I can have it show these groups or not show these groups. I like to have it show them. And I can go through and use that to kind of, make sure I don't have any merged contacts that I want to separate, and make sure they're manually merged in just one contact instead of 2 merged contacts. I don't really want them to be a merged contact. I want it to be a single contact if that's the case. And that doesn't necessarily mean duplicates, but that could help you identify some potential duplicates. But if you're in Google Contacts and Google Contacts Editor, Chrome add-on, you have a couple of powerful tools there for removing duplicates. But mainly in Google Contacts Editor, there's a Google Chrome add-on, which has a free version, which is pretty powerful. But it also has an upgraded version, which is a few dollars a year. Not very much, but it's definitely powerful. It allows you to really edit like a good amount of contacts. You want to have something like that to edit a lot of them at once quickly. You might even want to do that. It's not very much. I think it's like $11 or $20 a year or something like that. So anyway, that's Google Contacts Editor. But so hopefully this helps to understand this app. Is kind of a lengthy tutorial. You can go to different parts of it, and I would try to maybe think if I can somehow break it up or identify different elements. But I think it's good to just kind of skip through it a bit and maybe even watch the whole thing to fully understand this app. So this is basically it as far as what I wanted to show you. And if you do learn something else, please let me know, or even if this video has comments, by all means, if there's anything else you learned about it, please let us know. You can see there's some other stuff here in the toolbox area. I basically went through everything. If you want to recommend the app to friends, it allows you to do that, and I think you can even I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, if I was going to upgrade to the premium or business version of DW Contacts, I would just pay the fee probably, because you don't want to go without it any longer. It's a powerful tool for anybody who uses the Android phone for business marketing, networking, managing any list of contacts, want to send out messages to them better, stuff like that. So try it out. Let me know if you get this, watch this video, maybe watch again or send it to a team member. Leave me a comment. Let me know if this helps. Maybe like and subscribe if you get this video and you're able to like and subscribe. Okay, thanks for watching, and till next time.